to the fight phase now, which is almost at the end of the turn sequence for the new rules. In the last phase, we charged the Poxwalkers into these 2 units, and now we're going to work out how combat actually works. To begin with, we choose the unit to fight with, and inside here it says any unit that charged or has models within 1 inch of an enemy unit can be chosen to fight in the fight phase. This includes all units, not just those controlled by the player whose turn it is. All units that charge this turn fight first. The player whose turn it is picks the order in which the units fight. After all charging units have fought, the players alternate, choosing eligible units to fight with, starting with the player whose turn it is, until all eligible units on both sides have fought once each. No unit can be selected to fight more than once in each fight phase. If one player runs out of eligible units, the other player completes all of their remaining fights, one unit after another. A fight is resolved in the following steps. So before we go on to that bit, effectively, because I've charged, I get priority. I get to activate my units before you get to do yours. Yeah. After that, it does the activation. So I go first because it's my turn, then you'll go. There are command points, which you can use to effectively interrupt that process and make one of your units go before.
Yeah, and I think some units also have special abilities. I was looking at the Howling Banshees, and the Banshee Mask means they always fight first. Okay. Relevant to how you want to do that.
So check your data sheets for that if you've got anything that does something out of sync. So the next step is piling in. So I've chosen the Poxwalker unit. They're within 1 inch of those units to fight. Piling in, you may move each model in the unit up to 3 inches. This move can be in any direction as long as the model ends the move closer to the nearest enemy model. Now, because these are already in base contact, the way that the rules read, I can't actually get any closer than I currently am, so I can't move the models around that are in base contact. So if I wanted to maximise the pile-in step, in the charge phase I basically want to use as much movement as I can to get around these units, and then in the pile-in step, which I'm on now, you can then pile in towards the closest enemy model. Because these are in base contact, they can't actually shuffle around. He gets to move 3 inches, and that's pretty much going to get him there. So he's still potentially going to be out of range.
I think you've got to be fairly careful though, because there is a little gap there, and in theory you can pile in to that gap, which gets him closer to the enemy model and probably is better in terms of range.
Same with this one then, we'll pile him in there.
Okay.
And he is there.
And this one was at maximum move and not quite in base. If you were to pile in, which you have to do the combat, what happens if that breaks coherency? That's the question, because I don't think it says pile in. I think it says you may move each model, but it doesn't say pile in move. Do you think it's a move?
Yeah, I think it's still a move. I think that would need to be an FAQ. Does a pile in count as a move? In which case, do you have to keep the coherency or not? I would play it as you do need to keep coherency, because it says move and it said any moves you have to be within coherency. So we'll play it like that for now. We'll see what happens later on.
Okay, the next part, Sam, is to choose targets. So you've got to pick the unit, the target unit or units for the attacks.
Yep. I've got 2 units here. I'm choosing the Intercessors and the Ancient.
And importantly, you have to be within 1 inch to choose them at a target. So that means none of these can actually attack the Ancient, even though in theory they're all in combat with that unit, yeah? Next we need to do is to look at the number of attacks. So the number of close combat attacks a model makes against a target is determined by its attack characteristic. You roll 1 dice for each close combat attack being made. For example, if it has a characteristic of 2 attacks, then you roll 2 dice. Fairly straightforward.
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Poxwalkers here. They have 2 attacks each.
Ouch.
And their strength is as user, so it's only a strength 3.
Okay, so you've chosen who you're going to attack with. There's 9 against that unit. The next thing is to choose your melee weapon. So it says each time a model makes a close combat attack, it uses a melee weapon. The weapons a model is equipped with are described in the data sheet. A data sheet does not list any weapon, then it's assumed to fight with a close combat weapon, which has the following profile. So in essence, unless you've got a special weapon, then you can assume that the type is melee, the strength is user, there's no armor piercing, and it does a damage of 1. So that's your basic attack. Mm-hmm. How about the Poxwalkers?
Well, it also says if a model has more than 1 melee weapon, choose which it will use before rolling dice. If a model has more than 1 melee weapon and can make several close combat attacks, you can split your attacks between the weapons however you wish. Declare how you will divide the attacks before any dice are rolled. I've only got a improvised weapon on the Poxwalkers, so they're all I've only got one choice of a weapon.
Okay.
I'm just going to check the abilities as well to see if any of those correspond to this fighting. Curse of the Walking Pox. Each time an enemy infantry model is slain in the fight phase, add one model to the Poxwalker's unit. So that's getting to the wound bit. But if I kill one of these, you become a Poxwalker. Mindless. This unit never has to take morale tests.
Nice.
Which will be interesting for the next phase.
Yeah.
And Diseased Horde. You can add 1 to all hit rolls for this unit in the fight phase if it contains more than 10 models. This only contains 10 models.
No, the unit's higher. You've got 9 in this combat, but the unit is 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Okay, so normally then we're going to go on to the resolving of the actual attack now. I need to roll to make a hit initially, and these are a 5+ to hit. That's their weapon skill. Because there's more than 10, I actually only need 4s to hit. These dice are a lot better, aren't they? Look at that.
I think you should be using the green dice actually, Sam.
Not going to happen. And now we go on to wound. The strength of my weapon is 3. The toughness of your intercessors is
4.
So I will need on the new chart a 5.
Yeah, toughness is greater than strength of the weapon.
And we've got 5 of them have gone through. There is no AP on this weapon. You have an armor save of 3, is it?
I do indeed have a 3-up save.
So you need to basically get a 3 or more and you're okay.
Sure.
All of them have been saved.
Hooray for the Marines.
And these dice, if anybody is wondering about the next dice to buy, these blue ones from Games Workshop, they're perfect.
Okay, next up we have 5 Poxwalkers surrounding the Ancient.
Yes. So even though it looks like they are doing 2 separate fights, I've activated this unit, which means I still get to go first over here as well. So I've got 10 attacks over on the Ancient. 4s to hit. And then I'll need 5s to wound, as the Ancient got a higher toughness than 4.
I will just double check. No, he is toughness 4.
So 5s. And 2 more. What is the save on the Ancient?
I think a 3-up save again. Yes, it is.
Okay, no AP. One of them has gone through. Now this is only a damage of 1. So your Ancient...
My Ancient has 5 wounds, so that takes him down to 4 wounds.
Okay.
I'll put a marker there.
So unfortunately I've not been able to slay a single model, which means I don't get any Poxwalkers added to the unit.
Oh.
I've done everything I can and now it's your turn. I've got no more models left, no more units left to activate, so you can choose which one you want to activate next.
I will activate the unit of Intercessors.
Okay, Intercessor, so you get your 3-inch pile-in initially.
Oh, of course, yes, so I can pile in. They're already in base contact, so they can't make the move, but I can pile in, and I'll take that one over there, just because it had the largest gap. It was well within 3 inches, gets me close to the enemy model.
And how many attacks do you get with your weapons?
I have 2 attacks with the normal Intercessor, and the Sergeant actually has 3 attacks. Now, the rest of my weapons, when I look at my weapon profile, I have a pistol, a bolt rifle, a frag grenade, and a crack grenade.
No melee then, so you'll be using the standard close combat weapon from the rules.
Sure, yes.
Okay.
So I've got 11 attacks with a weapon skill of 3+, so I need 3s or more.
Okay, 6 hits.
Great, and I am strength 4 and you are toughness
3, so it's 3s to wound.
So 3s to wound.
Getting a lot more 1s now. Now it's your...
And of course this is no AP, it's an AP dash, so I'm not doing any damage with it beyond that.
But the Poxwalkers have their 7+ save, which obviously is going to do nothing.
You're forgetting something, Sam.
What am I forgetting?
You have an ability, Disgusting Resilience.
Oh yeah, I get to save these on a 5 or 6. They are saved. And I saved 2 of them. Thank you, Phil. He's gone. That's the guy that's lost.
So the Ancient has 4 attacks, again has no close combat weapon, so this will be 4 attacks with a 3 to hit from the Ancient.
Okay, 3 hit.
They really are cracking dice.
And then 3s to wound. No, not as cracking. I get my disgustingly resilient roll, so a 5 or 6 saves it. No, and I lose another model, which will be
You get to remove
this
that.
guy here. One thing with the Ancient as well, he's got a special ability. Any models, any infantry models that have the same chapter keyword as the Ancient within 6 inches get an extra chance to do something before they die. Basically, if I was to kill one of these Primaris Marines on a 4+, he gets to either shoot or do another combat attack before he dies. So it's like a last stand, which is quite a nice ability. But we didn't get to demonstrate that because the Poxwalkers didn't kill anything.
Sure.
What happens next then? We're on to, we've resolved all of those. We've got Consolidate next.
Yes. So you may move each model in the unit up to 3 inch. This move can be in any direction so long as the models end the move closer to the enemy unit. So as we'd already piled in and we got pretty much as close as we could, there's not really anything I can do. We're in combat, so there's nothing more I can do, but we actually skipped your consolidation
Yes,
phase.
that's what I was about to say. It's not done at the end of a combat now. You do your fight. I do my unit, then I do my consolidation. So this model here, he gets to consolidate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he
3 inch
could
move.
consolidate around there if he wanted to, or around here.
Around the other
I'm not
side.
going to, but it just means at the end of your attacks with a unit, you can consolidate into a different position. That's the end of the fight phase. Obviously, there can be a lot more complications and a lot more abilities to read. So again, it's checking your data sheets to see what abilities all of your units have and how they can work with each other. Other than that, it's quite straightforward. We're on to the next video, which will be the last part of the introduction to 8th edition series, which is the morale phase. So check out that one. Thank you for watching this one.
Thank you.